Folks, welcome back. We're going to be breaking down UFC Shanghai today. But first, all the odds mentioned in this video are brought to you by Cloudbet. They are our sponsor, our partner in this video. And when you sign up using the link in the description, using promo code 138MMA to support the channel, you can get yourself some access to some awesome rewards and a great welcome package. So help yourself, help the channel, click that link, promo code 138MMA, and let's break down some good matchmaking here. Diyar Nurgozhay takes on Uran Satybaldiev. This is a light heavyweight matchup. Both guys with only one loss in the career. Both guys coming off of that loss, 4-1 in their last 5 fights. I think it's a good matchup here. Satybaldiev took a short notice fight up at heavyweight, didn't go his way. Yeah, you can't fault him too much there. Nurgozhay kind of hit with the UFC jitters, didn't perform as a big favorite in his debut. For Satybaldiev, good striker, mostly just volume, decent power, and just kind of comes forward and does what he needs to do with a good pace. The guy has cardio, keeps up a pace throughout however many rounds he needs because he's been fighting as a champion outside the UFC. Striking defense isn't the best, and we've seen him wobbled many a time, but he just keeps on coming. So the durability is, I'm still giving it a positive, although I could understand someone's argument that it's not the best. I think it's good enough to eat some shots and continue on. He's a good grappler as well. He's got decent takedowns, predominantly throws, pretty darn good ground and pound. He does work to advanced position, and he grapples at a really high pace. So he's just pretty good everywhere, but the pace and the cardio at 205 is better than a lot of guys at 205. On the other side, for Nurgozhay, good striker. I think he's the more accurate striker of the two. He's got more power, good combinations, kicks to wall levels. He works the body really well, but I don't think he's going to have the output of Satybaldiev. So it's going to come down to that, whether or not the power shots, the accuracy, and the cleaner boxing and kickboxing is going to be better than the volume. So that kind of depends. In the grappling, he's kind of decent. We saw him get submitted with a Kimura, and you don't really see that a whole lot in the UFC these days. But, he's got good ground and pound, decent top pressure, but sometimes he gets a little overzealous with the ground and pound and can lose top pressure because of it. The guys will be able to scramble, get back to their feet. For me, I think it's the output. I think Satybaldiev gets it done. He's minus 205 over on Cloudbet. I think that sounds about right, but we're going to take him. Uran for the pick. Let me know what you guys think. Interesting bantamweight matchup here. Xiao takes on Su Youngyu. Both guys with 4 wins in their last 5. We get a loss for Xiao where he had a competitive fight, really good back and forth scrap. Didn't get the win in that one, but he's got 4 wins outside of that. On the other side, Yu has looked great at the 4 wins, and then there is that 1 no contest, that tiny blemish there. When we look at this matchup here, for Yu, he's a decent striker. It's basically set up by his grappling, but he's got power, he's got movement, but he's wide open to counters, and he throws mostly single shots. He seems to be able to take a punch pretty well, which is good for him because he's going to need it here. But if he gets the fight to the mat, that's where he is at his best. He's a solid grappler with good takedowns, and he'll stick to them for the second attempt. So if he fails the first attempt, don't worry. Dude is not letting go and going back into space. He just keeps on it. He's got good transitions, excellent back takes. He scrambles super well, and he just floats on top. As you shift underneath him, instead of trying to keep heavy top pressure, he's floating from position to position and doing what he needs to do in those spots. It's really, really solid. So there's a lot to like in the grappling for you. For Long, good striker. He's going to be the better striker. He's going to come forward. He's calm in the pocket. He picks his shots really well. He's got an active jab. That 2-3 combo is solid for him. He's got good durability. There's a lot to like. I think if this stays on the feet, Xiao Long is going to look very, very good. But if he goes in the grappling, here's the thing. He can mix in his grappling. He's got good takedowns. He likes to catch kicks and bring guys to the mat there. He's got good scrambles. I don't think that's a good move for him. I think he wants to keep this on the feet. And if he does, I think he's going to have a lot of success. But if this goes to the mat, as good as Xiao Long is in the grappling, I think Yu is a better grappler. Now, for Xiao Long, there is something else that could make this a little different. He starts fast, and he keeps a pace throughout the whole fight. This dude can fight for 3 rounds at a super high pace. And maybe Su Youngyu can't. We don't know. We don't know for sure. The pace that Xiao Long sets is pretty high. So there is that. Now, for me, Yu is a minus 143 favorite over on Cloudbet. And I do think that's about right because as much as I think Xiao Long is a live dog here, I do think Yu gets the better of the grappling exchanges, and I think he controls him for at least 2 out of 3 rounds. I'm going to take Su Youngyu to get this one done using that grappling control. This is a really close fight. I can see this one going either way, and I do not feel super confident about this. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next fight. Yizha takes on Westin Wilson in a matchup between a couple of guys who are both 3-2 in their last 5 fights. This fight is in the featherweight division. For Wilson, he's a decent striker. He's got those long straights, and he's got that karate blitz. That's kind of his style on the feet. Real active on the lead leg, light on the toes, hands low. The same thing you see from any other karate fighter in the UFC, essentially. It's like that, right? That's how he fights standing. In the grappling, he's actually a little bit better in my opinion. His jiu-jitsu is legit. He's very active from his back. He attacks submissions, and he uses his length really well because he's kind of a lankier guy. He gives him those choking arms, you know what I mean? So there's a lot to like about Wilson, but he's had a rough run in the UFC. His first 2 fights were absolutely very difficult fights, especially for a guy who was making his debut and sophomore outing in the UFC. That's hard. So on the other side, Yizha, decent striker. He's also got long straights, good forward pressure. He's probably got more power here. He hits pretty hard, and he's durable. A guy can take a punch. In the grappling, I think he's the better wrestler between these two. Maybe not better in the jiu-jitsu, but definitely better in the wrestling. He's got decent takedowns, pretty good top control, but he does have a pretty good armbar. Here's the deal, guys. Yes, Yizha is a big favorite, and he probably wins, but I don't think he wins as often as those odds are implying. Not even close. I'll take Yizha for a pick. The odds are going to probably force the hand. Westin Wilson's a ridiculously big favorite. There's probably a bet coming on him at some point. You might as well at that point, right? I mean, this is just an opinion. Do whatever you want. All of these opinions are for entertainment purposes only. If you haven't read the intro little slide there at the beginning of all these videos, that's on you. I get people all the time saying I'm giving advice. These are opinions, and this is for entertainment. Every time I tell you it's an opinion, that is what it is, an opinion. So somebody's still going to get mad about it. I don't care. Westin Wilson's too big of an underdog. I don't like that, but I'll take Yizha. Let me know what you guys think. The return of Kyle Daukaus. He steps in on relatively short notice in this middleweight matchup to take on Michel Pereira, who Michel Pereira was on a bit of a streak until he kind of hit some upper-level competition and took a couple of setbacks. So he's 3-2 in his last 5. Taking on Kyle Daukaus, who was in the promotion, got cut, went on a tidy little win streak outside of the UFC, and is now 4-1 in his last 5. He's getting this opportunity on short notice. He's been pining for the opportunity for a while now. People have been really getting behind him, supporting him. He's now back, right? For Kyle Daukaus is a decent striker, decent power, basic combination, stuff like that. But where he really gets it done is with his grappling. Dude's a solid grappler. His submission arsenal is where you're looking most. It's that Darce choke, right? That's the move. That's his best move. He's got decent takedowns to get things where he needs them. Good cage push. That's where he can win some minutes in the upright position. Good transitions when he gets to the mat. Good transitions up against the cage, things like that. There's a lot to like about the grappling of Daukaus, and the striking is all right, too. The thing I like the most about Daukaus that kind of gets overlooked because of the Darce game, that's what he's known for, is the urgency. This guy fights with a lot of urgency. He's not out there just trying to, do a little bit here, do a little bit there. He's fighting trying to get you out of there, and that's what he is, I would say, known for outside of the Darce choke is his urgency when he fights, and that's what I like most about Kyle Daukaus, especially in this fight. On the other hand, for Michel Pereira, dude's a good striker. I think he's going to be a better striker here. I don't think that's crazy to say. He's very unorthodox, though, so there is that. That could be good or bad, but he's got good movement, plenty of power, love the flying knee. But the thing that I like most in this matchup is his body work, mostly with the punches. Yes, he has good kicks to the body as well. You don't want to get a kick caught and taken to the ground against a guy like Daukaus. Daukaus is scary on the mat. He's got that slick Darce, like I'm saying. But I do think if he starts working the body with those punches, he's a more powerful guy between the two. I don't think that's crazy to say. I do think that's gonna bode well for him overall. He's a pretty good grappler in his own right. He can get decent takedowns. He's got some sweeps from the bottom, but the problem is with heavier wrestlers or heavier wrestling pressure, he can be held down and get top timed. And that's something that could happen here. Daukaus is pretty good in the grappling. But I do think Michel Pereira, the minus 286 favorite over on CloudBet, I do think he's the rightful favorite. I think he's the rightful side. So we're going to take Pereira. I think the step up on short notice for Daukaus over in Shanghai, which is quite the jaunt for the guy, I do think that that's going to be a bit much. So we're taking Pereira. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you. Rongzhu versus Austin Hubbard at 155 pounds. Rongzhu is 4-1 in his last 5, 2-3 for Austin Hubbard. And Hubbard is the type of fighter who can take just about anybody outside of the top 15 to a close split decision that you can argue he won or maybe he didn't. That's just the type of fighter that Austin Hubbard is. It doesn't matter if he's more skilled or not. He can take pretty much anybody to an extremely close fight. And it's just his style, right? So for Hubbard, he's a decent striker. He's got a good front kick, good straight punches, good counter striking ability, and he's durable. On the feet, that's kind of what you need. Grappling, good there too. He's got good takedowns and smothering top pressure. Now, he does leave his neck a bit exposed on his takedowns, but he hasn't really had to worry too much about that as of late, especially. But the cardio and the pace, that's what makes Austin Hubbard so gosh darn dangerous. So the guy is a hard fight for anybody. On the other side, you got Rongzhu, who is by and large going to be a much better striker here. The dude hits like a truck. He's got plenty of good combinations, nasty leg kicks, a good jab, and some nice hand speed. There's a lot to like in the striking. I think in the striking department, Rongzhu is going to be looking great. Sure, he's going to get hit a little bit Hubbard can eat one and then counter back. That's a thing he can do. But the power shots are coming from Rongzhu. And I do think those leg kicks are going to add up. Now, in the grappling, this is where Hubbard can get things done. And this is where he can make it one of those close fights. Decent takedown defense from Rongzhu. It's really been improving. There's things I like about it. But he can still be held down once he gets taken down. And my gosh, that's what Austin Hubbard does. Now, here's the deal. I think we stand and trade for a bit. I think that happens. I think Hubbard starts mixing in takedowns. It's just, what are the judges going to like? And something's telling me we're going to get a split decision, and it's going to go to Rongzhu. Now, he's minus 295 over on CloudBet. I know that's a little steep. I'm still going to take Rongzhu. And something you guys need to hear, just because I'm mentioning the odds in every single fight, it does not mean I'm betting every single fight. And if you don't understand that, my gosh, you need to seek some help. Anyway, Rongzhu's the pick. I think he probably wins a close decision. Let me know what you think. Flyweight matchup here. The undefeated Lerner Kavanagh takes on Charles Johnson. Johnson is 4-1 in his last 5. Obviously 5-0 in the last 5 for Kavanagh. Really competitive matchup. Really compelling matchup. I understand Charles Johnson is an underdog, and my gosh, is he live in any fight as an underdog. That's something to think about. Let's start with Charles Johnson. He's a solid striker with a really good body kick. He's got good combinations. He puts his punches and kicks together super well. Strikes to all levels. Good lateral movement, and he's durable. There's a lot to like about Charles Johnson's striking. He's a good grappler, too. He has a few holes, but he's a pretty good grappler. He's got good ground and pound. He attacks submissions really well. He scrambles really well. Even if he doesn't get the submissions, he'll attack them and use them to work other things. He'll use them to open up positions, use them to start setting up his ground and pound better, things like that. Takedown defense is, hit or miss, but he does get back to his feet very quick. Problem with Charles Johnson, especially in 3-round fights, is he does give up the first round at a very high clip. He does not often win first rounds. He often wins third rounds. I think he might even win the third round in this fight. I think he probably loses the first round. It's going to come down to the second round. When we look at Lerner Kavanagh, dude's a solid striker as well. Got good combinations, tons of power, darts in and out really well, good leg kick, works it to accumulation. In fact, he's got a good, diverse kick arsenal in general. Very accurate in his strikes, good counters, but the problem I see with him is he's just wide open when he's throwing these big, heavy shots. He'll just drop his hands like this and throw. It's not what you want to see, especially against a veteran like Charles Johnson. Hasn't taken a loss yet. That's something that's going to catch him at some point. Guys like Charles Johnson can do that to you. He's a good grappler, though. Good takedowns against the cage. Take the back pretty well, and he's got a good sprawl. Like I said, it probably comes down to round number 2. And looks like on CloudBet you're getting Lerner Kavanagh at 205, minus 205. Ooh, that number makes me nervous, but I do think he probably wins the first 2 rounds, and then it gets really sketchy in the third, and we see it go to Kavanagh 29-28. That is what I think we see. So I got to take Kavanagh, but my goodness, at minus 205 against a guy like Charles Johnson, who has a win over the number 1 contender, Joshua Van, it's kind of like, dude, Charles Johnson could beat anybody at any given time. So let me know what you guys think. I'm interested to hear your opinions on this one specifically. Next up, 155 pounds, Gage Young takes on Maheshate Hayisaer. Hayisaer, I think? Hayisaer? I'm bad at that. We're going to call him Maheshate. That's what it was originally. Now he's got a last name. Anyway, for Maheshate, he's 2-3 in his last 5, 3-2 for Gage Young. This is an interesting fight, and I'll tell you why here in a bit, but first let's go over the skills individually. For Gage Young, he's a good striker. He's got good kicks. His front kick and his leg kick are kind of his go-tos. Likes to put that front kick right down the pipe, keep guys at range with that, and then just kind of tag the leg kick as they're, out at range. Just touch up their lead leg, slow down the movement, things like that. He likes to poke his jab out there as a range finder, and he's got decent power. But he's a better grappler and wrestler than he is striker. However, we've seen him decide to strike in situations where he probably should wrestle in the past. So that is something to be concerned about here, because he's got a clear path to victory if he decides to grapple. He's got good takedowns, good entries. He's willing to chain his takedowns together. Pretty good top pressure. The ground and pound's there, and he's got good takedowns or defensive takedowns as well. Takedown defense, that's what I was trying to say. My goodness. On the other side, for Maheshate, he's a good striker and the more dangerous striker by far, because this dude, he's got plenty of power. He uses his range really well. Absolutely nasty elbows, a slick cross, pretty good kicks and knees. But his defense, not so much. His takedown defense, not so much. Here's the deal. The minus 130 favorite for Gage Young over on CloudBet is the side I'm going to side with, because I'm going to say that I think he might wrestle. And I think if he wrestles, I think he wins this fight. But if he goes out there and tries to strike with Maheshate, he probably gets dropped. And he probably gets knocked out. He could win a striking fight. Maheshate is very dangerous in the striking, especially if he doesn't feel the threat of the wrestling. So for Gage Young, he needs to mix that in. I hope that he does. That's what I'm going to say he's going to do. So we're going to take him at minus 130. We're going Gage Young. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you. Got a welterweight matchup here. The debuting Taiyilake Nueraji, I think is how you say that. That's what we're going to go with. He's taking on Kiefer Crosbie. Kiefer Crosbie is 2-3 in his last 5. I kind of forgot he was still around, honestly. He hasn't fought in quite some time. But here he is. He's fighting again. Grizzled vet. Takes on the up-and-comer with 11-1 on the record, but 5-0 in the last 5. So a real prospect. He's making his debut. So there is that. There's the debut jitters. It's a real thing. And he's a big-time favorite. So you got to think about that as well. But for Kiefer Crosbie, he's a pretty good striker, right? He's got good striking, good volume, good power, good leg kick, but the defense isn't there. He's a really good hammer and not such a good nail. So once guys start getting the advantage on him, his cardio fades and he just starts crumbling. However, early on, this dude can really put it on someone. He's got decent grappling as well, heavy ground and pound with good elbows. So once he gets on top, starts dropping heavy bombs. There's a lot to like about Crosbie in this one as a big-time underdog, but also, there's a lot to like about this surging prospect, but there's just so many unknowns. Seems to be a good striker, good power, mixes in his knees and elbows super frequently, so that's something you like to see. But he's willing to brawl, and brawling with Kiefer Crosbie could go one of two ways. Either A, you turn him into a hammer or a nail, and one of those things that happens accordingly. Decent grappler, pretty good sprawl and heavy ground and pound, and I love the killer instinct. When this guy's got you hurt, he goes for that finish. Minus 334 for Nueraji. I have to take him here because Crosbie hasn't looked all that good as of late, but at the same time, I don't trust the newcomer here. This is a total crack a root beer and stay away type of fight. We're going to be kicking our feet up on the coffee table and enjoying this one, kind of getting a better read for future reference. But let me know what you guys think. I'm interested to see what you guys have as far as opinions on this one, and maybe I'm missing something. But let me know. Flyweight strikers up next. Sumudaerji takes on Kevin Borjas. Sumudaerji's 2-3 in his last 5. Borjas is 3-2. Let's start on the Borjas side. He's a good striker with good combinations. Mixes in knees and elbows really well in his combinations. Good, clean, straight punches. Love the kicking game. He counters really well. I love the catch of the kick into that cross. It's a lot of people that catch the kick and then go for the takedown. Borjas is catching the kick, landing the cross, and then not falling him to the mat. He's going to make him stand back up after he cracks you, which is something I like to see for him in most fights. Maybe not this one specifically, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But either way, he does use the lean back defense a bit when he's countering. He'll try to do that pull counter, but it ends up a lot of times instead of pulling like completely back, he'll kind of just lean. And if there's a second or third punch coming before he can get that counter off, that can result in him getting hit. He does work the body pretty well, though. He's a good grappler defensively. He lacks offensive abilities, but he's got a good sprawl, good crossface, and he refuses bottom position. Now, elite level grapplers are going to outwork him and out-grapple him. But as far as versing another striker, his grappling's pretty good. Now, for Sumudaerji, he's a good striker as well. He's got good movement. He darts in and out really well. He's got fast hands, good volume, rangy straight punches, and a nasty leg kick. There's a lot to really like, but his grappling, average might be a bit extreme. I mean, he's got decent scrambles. That's it. Off his back, he's just a fish out of water. And his submission defense, well, he kind of gets submitted a lot. I think, 5 or 6 of his losses are submissions. It's not what you like to see, right? I think it's 6. It might be 6. But either way, for Sumudaerji, the grappling isn't there. I don't see Borjas really implementing a grappling-heavy game plan. So I think we're going to get a striking fight between a couple of strikers, which is what we want to see. It's going to be a fun fight. And if you're telling me the guy that I think is a slightly bit better striker is a plus 129 underdog, let's go. It's dog season. Give me Kevin Borjas at plus 129 over on Cloud Bet, and I'm taking it. Kevin Borjas for the win. Let me know what you guys think. Next, Sergei Pavlovich takes on Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Now, this is a big step up in competition for Acosta. He's 5-0 in his last 5, 14-1 on the career. The guy's looked great, and he's proved me wrong a couple of times as well. He's taking on Sergei Pavlovich, who's 19-3. He's 3-2 in his last 5, but those 2 losses are to Alexander Volkov and the champion, Tom Aspinall. When you look at it that way, you're like, okay, this guy's been fighting the top of the division. I mean, Volkov probably should be the #1 contender. He beat Cyril Gane by all intents and purposes, even though the judges robbed him blind. So that's whatever. But so losing to what I would say is #1 and #2 in the division, it's not that big of a deal. Now, Waldo's looks great. When we talk about Waldo, the dude has a lot of things that you like, right? He's got solid jab. He's got good movement, good volume, good combinations, works the body really well, all around good striking, except for the leg kick defense, which it is abysmal. He's durable. He doesn't act like the leg kicks hurt him, but the dude just eats a ton of them. His takedown defense is improving, which is good. That's something you like to see from the guy. He has a lot of things to like. It's hard to really know where he's at because this is a giant leap for him, but he's looked pretty good so far. On the other hand, for Sergei Pavlovich, he's a solid striker. He's the type of guy with good forward pressure, pretty good output, big time power. When this dude hits you, you probably go to sleep. He's got good boxing combinations, and like I said, the output helps with the combinations and the power. There's a lot to like there. He does have a deceptive range. Dude's got super long arms for his frame, right? The guy's arms are like way longer than his height as far as like wingspan to height ratio, which is something that you like for a guy that has big power like this. It makes that deceptive range even more dangerous. He's a decent grappler. We've seen him mix in the takedowns now. He's got decent takedowns and pretty good top pressure. So he can get that going if he needs to. It hasn't been something he's used up until just recently, but it is an option for him. This one is super tough for me because you get Pavlovich as a big-time favorite. Now, I think he probably should be the favorite. He's not that big of a favorite, but he's a big enough favorite. I think he should be a favorite. But man, Waldo keeps tricking me here. He keeps looking better or looking like he can get to whatever level his competition is. I think this is too much. I'm going to take Pavlovich, but oh boy. Guys, this is one of those fights that for whatever reason I'm second guessing myself on it. But let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you. Also, hey, like the video if you haven't already. I'm going to remind you now before the main event so I don't forget. And I will see you in the next matchup between a couple of grizzled vets. We have Brian Ortega taking on Aljamain Sterling. Sterling is 3-2 in his last 5 fights, 2-3 for Ortega. Now, this is a fun matchup between a couple of grapplers. And what does that usually mean? Well, grappler versus grappler often equates to striking. It's kind of like a negative and a negative equals a positive in math. It's the same thing with a grappler versus a grappler equals a striking match. At least that's usually how it goes, right? So Aljamain Sterling, he's a good striker. He's got good movement, long jab, and kicks to all levels. His awkward kind of style makes his striking seem more viable. He's a solid grappler, though, and if he does go to the mat, well, he shoots a really low takedown. He has really good scrambles. If he fails his takedown, he's going to stay low to avoid any strikes. He's going to be all the way down. He's got good back takes and excellent control. There's a lot to like for Aljo here in the grappling, but on the other side, on the flip side, Brian Ortega, same kind of thing. He's a pretty good striker as well. He's got a clean jab, good front kick, good combinations, and he's durable. This dude can take a punch better than most. In fact, we've seen people try to set records on this man's face. Max Holloway being the one. Solid grappler, though. Slick transitions, very good control. His choke arsenal is very, very high level. The guillotine, nasty, but even better is his triangle. So both of these guys are very top-level grapplers and pretty good strikers. I feel like in the grappling, it's going to be more control from Sterling with the threat of the finish from Ortega. Now, could Sterling finish? Sure. I'm not saying that. Could Ortega control Sterling? Sure. I'm not saying he can't. I'm saying that's just how I see it happening more often than not. On the feet, I think it's super competitive between a couple of guys that are kind of just not primarily strikers. But every time I see it, I'm playing it out in my head. I know he's minus 257 over on CloudBet, but I got to side with Sterling. For me, I'm going to take Sterling. I think he's going to be able to do the controlling on the mat, and I do think on the feet, he's going to avoid getting hit with the big shots, and I think he's going to land enough to kind of mark up the face, although durable, mark up the face of Ortega. So we're going to go Aljamain Sterling to wrap this one up with a decision there, and that is how I feel it goes. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Folks, we've got our main event here, and if you can do me the honor of liking this video, I very much appreciate it. It's fantastic, and also check out the link to CloudBet in the description. That's fantastic. You can use promo code 138MMA to get yourself some sick rewards and welcome package. Now, let's talk about this here main event. It's an interesting one, right? Because, I mean, like, the bigger name value on the card is obviously the co-main event. Brian Ortega, Aljamain Sterling, former champion, former title challenger, all that good stuff. That's great. We're in Shanghai. So Zhang Mingyang makes a lot of sense for the main event because the crowd probably wants to see him more than they want to see either guy in the main or in the co-main event. He's fighting Johnny Walker. Now, Johnny Walker's 2-2 in a no contest in his last 5 fights. Probably should have been a win in that no contest, to be honest. It should have been a DQ win, but it is what it is. 5-0 in the last 5 for Zhang Mingyang. Now, this is an interesting one for me because I don't think Zhang is like a top-tier light heavyweight. I understand he's looked really good lately, but a lot of it's been pretty good matchmaking for him. And this was a guy that was a big underdog against Daukaus on the Road to UFC tournament. He wasn't in the tournament. It was like a special bout, but he looked great, don't get me wrong, but like there was a lot of people that were kind of down on him. His level of competition prior to that was kind of, yeah, and we don't really have a good visual on it because he gets everybody out of there right away, so we don't really know what he looks like as the fight extends. That's why I don't have a ton of notes on him either. Dude's knocking people dead right away. It is what it is. He's a very good striker with a ton of power and a nasty blitz. Now, what happens to that if he goes to second or third round, or fourth and fifth round in this main event? Who knows? We just don't really know how he's going to look. But will we see that? I'll tell you in a minute. He's a very fast starter. Like I said, dude gets things done quick. He's a decent grappler he's got really good ground and pound. It usually leads to rear naked choke. His grappling isn't traditional. Like, he's not going for takedowns and things like that. But if he hits you and you fall to the mat, he's going to follow you down and start ground and pounding your face into oblivion, and you're going to turn over and give up your neck. That's how it works. That's what he does. He's a hammer all the way. And he's fighting Johnny Walker, who he's inconsistent. That is a great word to describe Johnny Walker. He's a good striker. He's explosive. He's got power. He strikes really well in flurries. We saw him kind of take a step back and do a lot of like work at his nice jab, things like that. That's just not Johnny Walker, really, and it works for me in some fights, but realistically, he might be better off in this fight to fight like the old Johnny Walker, because that way it's whoever gets the knockout first, right? He's very unconventional, but the durability just hasn't been there. And I know some people are going to say, oh, you know, this, that, and the other. Yeah, don't argue it. His durability hasn't been there. There's a reason they picked Johnny Walker to be the opponent in this. Now, I understand minus 385 for Zhang Mingyang is a bit steep. I just think this matchup has been picked specifically for Zhang Mingyang to get a highlight reel knockout in the first round, and I can't really see it going another way than that. I don't think I'll be surprised here. Zhang Mingyang probably gets this one done, round 1 KO. You can get that minus 385 over on CloudBet. I don't think that's a bad line. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next video. Catch you all down the road.